I want to show you how to change the chuck in a sunburst handpiece. First step is to remove the nose cone. The nose cone is this section here, and it should unthread. It just screws like a regular screw thread, right hand screw, and it should just come loose. When you take it out, be careful because there are pieces in there. One of them is a spring, the other is a spacer, and the pieces inside here will also fall out. Keep this part upright, facing the ceiling, lean it against something in a stable position. So next step is to remove this dome on the end, and it threads the same way. It's like a right hand thread, so left to loose. If you give it a twist using this special tool, you can loosen it, and then it should come off with your hand. Underneath that you can see the chucks in here. To get it out, simply push it on a hard surface, and the inside should come right out of the nose assembly. What you're left with is some bearings, spacers, springs, and the chuck. To loosen the chuck, there are two tools. One of them is the key. If you use the triangle-shaped hole, goes over the chuck, and I have this other tool. It's a little screwdriver shape that will go in the base of this piece, the linkage. This is a coupler that will let you turn it. So if you hold the one still and turn the other is the easiest way, and it shouldn't be too tight. Once you've got it loose, you can turn it with your fingers. And what comes out is a spring and this attachment piece that's threaded. Move them back here, and then what you're left with is the chuck. To get the chuck out, you need to push it from the inside, so you can do it with the piece without the spring. If you just thread it in a section and then give it a push, you can see the chuck will come out a bit. Unthread it, and you'll be able to pull the chuck out the rest of the way. If it's tough to get out of there, you can push it with something like a pencil or some kind of spacer that's not too hard, not like hardened steel, because you might scratch the inside. So once it's out, you can clean it. You can clean inside the hole. You can clean all the pieces. Don't use too much liquid on the bearings because they will rust if they're not dried properly. You can put the chuck in the ultrasonic if you like. Just make sure that it dries properly after. You can clean inside with a small tool. This chuck is actually, I can see that it's blocked. You should be able to see right through. Put a tool right through it. In this case, it's blocked. So you would clean that out or change it with a new one. Before you put it in, apply like a sparing amount of grease to the outside just to get it, to make sure that it slides smoothly. But when I say sparing, I mean just enough to put on your fingertip. Make it glisten and put it on. You shouldn't have any excess grease on there at all. To put it back together, it's the same way. You put in the chuck, insert the spring, and insert this piece to get it to start threading. You'll have to apply a little bit of pressure so that the threads engage. After that, you use the tool and the key and just tighten it up until it's snug. It should stop turning at a certain point. Just snug it up, and it's done. Now, to put the rest back together, you put the dome on top of the nose cone. When that's done, you slide the piece in, put the spring in, thread it back onto the handpiece. You're done.